Hi guys! Welcome to this week's author confession. So I don't know about you, but I feel like just this past week, and then I know that the next couple weeks for me are just insanely busy. I hope you all are having a bit more of a relaxing summer than I am, but yeah. So there's a lot going on. So today's author confession is going to be kind of short, but I wanted to still have a confession, and I still wanted to chat with you guys. So I thought that I would talk about something that I've wanted to talk about for quite a bit of time, but just have never really gotten around to, and that is music writing. I am the kind of person that absolutely loves music, and I love to have music playing while I write. It doesn't bother me. In fact, having music playing while I'm working tends to help me focus better. And so, what I usually do with my music for my writing is I make kind of playlists that go with the storyline, and there's definitely like a theme or a certain type of music for the writing. With Alice, the music was definitely more gritty and it was harder and it was rougher. And then with Peter, my sci-fi novel, I had a lot of like electronica and techno music, and so it's fun because as I'm working, the music kind of like ties in, and it to me it helps me focus and it kind of keeps me inspired. So that is my music thoughts on writing. Right now, I am working on the sequel to Alice, so I'm definitely revisiting some of those other songs. But I wanted to tell you my top 5 songs for my Alice in Wonderland or the Wonderland Chronicles playlist. Um, and the first song is Castle by Halsey. That song has played more times than I can even count. I love the beat to it, and I love just kind of the movement to it and how it sounds like it's progressing forward. And I would always play this song when Alice was getting ready to go do something and burst into action, because it just seemed like it was almost like a marching kind of cadence, and like she was marching into battle. So Castle by Halsey, definitely a really big one for me and Alice. Another one is Melanie Martinez and that Mad Hatter specifically. Granted, lots of Melanie Martinez played when I was writing Alice, but Mad Hatter, I mean, was the perfect Alice song. It was twisted, it was kind of gritty. I just really liked it. It was a darker version of this kind of song, and I thought it was a perfect fit for my dark version of Alice. My third song is a 21 Pilots song, and that was Fairly Local. And again, that was one that I kind of liked because it made me think of, I'm from Phoenix, Arizona, and that for those of you who have read the book and for those of you who have not read the book, that is where Alice is, and it's where Ground Zero is for the Momrath plague. And so I like the song Fairly Local because it was like, well, Alice is fairly local. I mean, she grew up here in Phoenix and she knows the area. But I mean, since this plague had hit, it's completely changed. So even though she is local, really at this point it's only fairly local. She knows what's going on, but there's things that are so different for her. I really liked that part of the song. So that's another one. The fourth top song in my Alice playlist is by Banks, and it is the song Begging for Thread. I really liked the darker tones to the song and the beat, and again, that was a really easy one to just kind of have playing in the background and then type out what I was thinking and what I was visualizing in my head. And then again, kind of that angsty kind of feel to it really helped me draw into this apocalyptic feeling for the world that I was building. So Begging for Thread by Banks was another really good one. And then lastly, my fifth song on my top 5 list for Alice is the song Snow White Queen by Evanescence, which may seem kind of strange because you're like, well, Snow White Queen, that sounds a lot more like Snow White, which, yeah, I guess it does. But in Alice, there also is a White Queen, and the White Queen and the Red Queen are generally at odds with each other. And so a lot of times I pictured Alice as the White Queen, and she may or may not end up there. I don't know. But definitely right now in the back of my brain, she is playing the role of the White Queen. And so this song seemed like a perfect fit for her. I love the melody to the song. I love how it's kind of got this haunting sound to it. And it definitely just has the kind of sound, again, to go with the feel that I was trying to create from. So like I said, most of my songs, they did kind of sound similar, or they had similar cadences, similar rhythms, similar beats, similar music like compositions, just because when I was making them, they were trying to go into creating this setting, this musical setting for the world I was going to create. So as much as I love Britney, as much as I love bubblegum pop and boy bands, you're not going to find any Backstreet Boys on my Alice in Wonderland playlist. I know, Dion. I know. Shocking. So that is a little bit about my writing music and how I put the playlist together. I'll probably do another video or confession about Peter in the future. But for now, that is Alice. If you want to know what my other songs are on the playlist, drop a comment below and I would be happy to put in the whole list for you so you guys can see it, so you can find the artists and you can see kind of some of the inspiration that I got when writing Alice, the Wonderland Chronicles. So that is my confession, but now it is time to turn the reins over to another author who is going to be confessing some secrets about her work in progress. Here it is. Guest is the lovely Jessica Julian, who I actually met on Twitter and we connected, and she is just one of the most amazing people that I have met, and I am actually lucky enough to be able to beta read her story, Memoirs of a Reaper, which I am totally fangirling over, but I'm not going to go too much into it, and I will let Jessica tell you a little bit about it herself. So, Jessica, can you tell us a little bit about your story?
Yeah, like you said, it's still a work in progress, so it's not polished and 100% finished yet, and I mean, I know how it's going to end, but nobody else does yet, not even my husband. So the story follows Amelia, who's our main character, who gets into a freak car accident and ends up dying right away. And then the whole novel just follows her through this life of being a Grim Reaper. So she tells her story of the souls that she comes in contact with and how she's understanding the afterlife. And she comes, like I said, in contact with a ton of different people, so you get to see all different sides of death, and it can be a little bit morbid at times, but it's fun.
Yeah, it's definitely a really cool concept. And when I first read, you actually posted a teaser line, and I was completely hooked just by that. It's so good. But tell us, it's kind of like I said, a different concept. Where do your inspiration and ideas come from?
Well, my husband actually got me into that show, Supernatural, and we started binge watching it like Netflix all weekend one time, and it was really bad. And when the new season started coming out, I was like, you know what, I could do something really, really cool with this. But I also watch a lot of shows like, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, Dead Like Me. It was on Netflix like forever ago. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it was all about reapers and what happens after you die. And I remembered watching that. They don't have it on there anymore, which is a bummer because it's such a good show. And so I kind of started thinking about, well, what would happen if like the afterlife was completely different? And I grew up with, the very Christian stories of the afterlife. And so I totally twisted them and made them a little bit not what you would expect. I don't want to give too much away, but a lot of shows, a lot of books, and also a lot of podcasts that I've been listening to. One in particular is called My Favorite Murder, and it's a true crime podcast all about like serial killers and crimes that have happened. So I've gotten a lot of interesting death ideas from them. It's a really funny podcast, but yeah, I got a lot of murdery ideas from them.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you've gotten a lot of really good ideas, and I can tell based off of what I read that you are definitely putting them to good use, so I'm really excited to see where the rest of the story goes. So your story obviously deals with a little bit of the concept of life after death, which is it seems like a really difficult genre. So what is the most challenging aspect of what you write?
I think for me is not like transitioning past the line of almost like reality. I don't want to add in like magical elements. Amelia can't just all of a sudden be able to pull out her magic wand and make things happen. Because for me, that's fun because I'm obsessed with Harry Potter. But it's also hard. I know, have to. It's also hard not to be too offensive to people because I do talk a lot about like heaven and hell and like God and the devil, and a lot of people get offended about that. So knowing where I can draw the line, where I'm not being in your face rude or totally making you hate me for what I'm saying, but having to just kind of be aware of what I'm writing and not going too magical.
Right. That makes sense. I can see how, like, especially in like a kind of supernatural setting, drawing that line between something that is realistic, I guess, fantastical, and then just kind of over the top fantastical would be pretty challenging. So good on you for being able to navigate that.
I try.
So, Jessica, one of the reasons that I originally connected with you, and I think that we hit it off so well, is because you actually are a teacher as well.
Yeah.
And you're English though. I teach science. I can congratulations and like all of the things to you for being able to teach English. And you are also, I believe, in high school, correct?
Yeah, I teach 7th through 12th.
Oh my goodness. So does the age group that you teach help make it easier for you to write your YA novels?
Yes and no. Yes, because they are because they are kind of that age range that we shoot for in the young adult. So if I have ideas, you can pass it by them and see, kind of test the waters without letting them know what you're doing. But at the same time, once they find out what you're doing, it's hard to get them to not want to know about it. They want they want to read it, they want to critique it, they want to be the teacher and take over that role that you do, because especially in English where you're critiquing them on all their writing and then having them want to read yours, it's like, well, you're just gonna have to wait.
So let's pretend a little bit. We are gonna fast forward into the future when you are just an amazingly super popular, renowned author. You've scored a huge publishing deal, and your book is just everywhere. And one of your students becomes a total super fan. What do you do?
Well, I mean, that could go either really, really well or really bad, I think. I think it could go really well in the fact that, I'd have a fan in front of me and I'd be able to kind of live in that life of, glamour, whereas they're kind of following you around all the time. I don't know, but it could get kind of creepy. And the same idea, just having someone there all the time, just all over you about it. I don't know what I would do. It'd be weird, but it'd be good. A good weird.
Right? I feel like that would be a good problem to have.
Yeah. It's not a bad problem. It just might be a little odd. Maybe. I might like it. I don't know.
You'll have to let me know when it happens. All right. Well, Jessica, thank you for answering my completely out of the blue questions and for being such a good confessioner for me. Now I have a request for you. Could you ask a question to my viewers?
Yes. So I actually been thinking about this question all day, and I've been asking my husband to come up with a question for me because I just couldn't think of one. So we've been Googling.
The Google.
I finally decided on one, and it's totally random. But we in this house are a lover of foods, so we decided that if you could only eat 3 foods for the rest of your life, what would they be? Only 3. That's all you get. Forever.
Ooh, that's tricky. So, confessioners, she asked a very good question. You only have 3 foods for the rest of your life for all of your writing, your snacking, your sustenance. What do you pick? Well, thank you so much, Jessica, for being such a good sport and for joining me today. I am so excited to see where your Memoirs of a Raper goes, and I can't wait to superfan all over you. Thank you so much, and we will talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thanks for having me.
All right, guys, there you have it. Secrets about her process, secrets about her job, and secrets about what's going to happen when she is super famous, because I know it's coming. But for now, that is all I have time for. I have some more stuff to go do to check off on my mile-long checklist for today. So I will leave you here. But until next time, as always, happy writing.